Real quick, we got Ron Gladnick, the Torrey Pines head coach, joining us. So perfect. We're in the right spot at the right time. We're now joined by Torrey Pines head coach Ron Gladnick. Coach, thank you very, very much for joining us. Hello, it is good to see you. I'm sorry that it's not in person, but it's good to have you here. You are on with Bodie DeSilva from Scorebook Live, Tommy Morris, we got everybody here. So we're going to be coming at you with questions kind of all over. But if you don't mind giving us about 10 minutes, we'd like to hear a little bit about how basically you are standing atop Mount Olympus right now, bestowing this season upon us. And you have gifted us you've gifted the land with sunshine again. So that has to feel pretty good. Hit me with some of the cliches of how it feels, or I mean, just are you finally done? Can you put that all to bed, to rest? Are you still having to fight for stuff, or are you able to now just focus and enjoy a season?
Well, we're still dealing with some fringe things. Obviously, the testing component, getting that organized. We've come up with some really great solutions to that issue. And, we're still hoping that in the next week or two, we're going to hit that magic 7 or below, or the vaccination metrics will reach a place where the red tier expands from 7 to 10. Because once that happens, then testing is pretty much a non-issue for probably 90+% of the state. In terms of Mount Olympus, for me, this has always been about kids. And I've been doing this, between college, high school, for almost half of my life. And this last year, I've never seen kids more sad and unhappy. And, for me, I just couldn't look at my kids anymore, and when we started, I really didn't know that we would have a chance to succeed, but I felt like it was important to try so that I could look my players in the eye and go, as an adult, I did everything I could do to help. But once we started chunking away, got a toe hold, got a foothold, and then really got it rolling, I felt like we could get to where we are now.
And Coach, what was that turning point? You mentioned at first you didn't know if it was going to work out or not, and then the light at the end of the tunnel happens. What was that moment, kind of the breaking point in the whole process where you realized this is actually going to happen?
January 21st at 4:00 in the afternoon when my phone rang, and it was Gavin Newsom. 13 days after we started. So in 13 days, when we partnered with Brad Hensley from Let Them Play, who is an amazing man, incredibly focused, just did an amazing job. When we got to that place where we drove the Facebook page from 700 people to 25,000 people in 13 days, at that point, we started to build enough critical mass where we obviously caught the attention of the people that mattered. And really what turned this thing is through a contact of one of our parents, I was able to send the data package to a guy here in our area who is very close with Gavin Newsom. He forwarded the information to the governor, talked to the governor, because I told the guy what our plan was. And basically, the governor thought it was a good idea to call and talk, because the governor wanted sports back. He's in a tough spot. This is a big state. I feel for the guy. I think, when I talked to him, I said, look, the mistake we've made here is the approach has been so myopic on the virus that no one's looking at collateral damage, and the collateral damage is everywhere. So from that moment on, he put me in touch with his chief of staff. We kept organizing, and, the thing just slowly moved forward.
I want to talk a little bit about the season, because that's that's why we're doing all this, so that you could have one. You've got Cathedral Catholic, Carlsbad, El Camino, Mission Hills, San Marcos, and LCC. So that feels like, I know that you always like to take on one or two big ones from the Southern section, but that feels like you're going to get just about all the normal level of stress and aging that you would get, because it's compacted into 6 straight weeks. What are you looking at this season with your squad?
I like our squad. We've had some kids make some tough decisions, in terms of 2 sports, and So our numbers aren't as high as I'd like them to be, but, we have a pretty talented roster. I think package wise, we can do some things that, can cause problems. That'll be hard to defend. The focus now, obviously, is we've been getting ready to play for a year, transitioning to actually playing, is a different thing. And our kids are working hard. They're just happy to be out there. I've always told you, I like playing big games. To me, if you're not playing games where you're learning about yourself, then I'm not that interested in a win, that I want to play somebody that I know we're going to beat. I want to play teams that matter. And our schedule is pretty reflective. I think 5 of the 6 teams are top 10 teams. Is endeavor.
Seems like you got a lot of talent on that defense this year. Several guys committed Division I, and just committed in general. Is that going to be the fun? You get to blitz again, and that or where what do you think will be the shining part of this team in the first couple of weeks? Because offenses, I still think they struggle, no matter if it's run heavy and real simple. I'm worried that some of these teams are going to click. So we're going to see that defense really carrying you guys.
Well, I feel good about I think it's the best defense we've had in my 7 years there. So we personnel wise, we can do some things we've never been able to do before. We feel like we can play some man coverage on the corners, which is going to allow a whole lot of talented guys to be coming from a lot of different angles. And, I think that bodes well for us. We're physically a pretty big football team. So, I'm just going through our front 4 where, 6'5", 265, 6'4", 320, 6'2", 230, and 6'7", 255. Our front 4 guys. And then we got 2 Division I kids at the linebacker. We've got a 3rd kid, Griffin Grant, who is the #1 midfielder in the country for lacrosse. He's 6'4", 205, but he wants to play college football, and the kid is a stud. So I think that's a kid that not a lot of people know about, who in this 6-game season, everybody's going to know about. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Sorry about that, Coach. The conditioning season, obviously is shortened, and aesthetically it looks very different. What are some of the keys that you're stressing to get your guys conditioned, ready to go for game 1 next week?
Well, there's a difference between conditioning and, what I call game conditioning. So we're in good shape. I mean, we've been working for a long time. Our kids have been, in the weight room. We've been running. Now it's taking that general conditioning and converting it to how do I recover from impact and physicality. And, so we do a lot of short burst work where we get into it, we get in the huddle, we get into it again, so we kind of get a rapid fire progression of plays much faster than you would see in a normal game, to be in a position where we can carry ourselves for a 4-quarter football game. We're going to play a lot of kids too. We're going to, we understand that this is a very different year. We're going to be moving kids in and out of the game to keep guys fresh.
Bodie, you had a question?
Yeah, Coach, you kind of answered it there, but without playoffs, how do you go about what's kind of the message you talk to the guys of the end goal? I mean, obviously they're glad to be back and playing, and you don't play a full league schedule because you have so many teams. Is it just week by week you go about?
Yeah, I think, Bodie, I've approached this a lot differently than I would a normal fall season. I look at every game we get as a gift, right? So my whole thing for our kids is we want to compete. We want to play hard. We want to feel good about ourselves. But I want my players to build memories. I want them to have experiences. I want them to do all those things. 5 years from now, you don't remember the score of a game. You really don't. But you remember the stuff you did with your buddies. You remember the laughs you had on the practice field. Those are the things you remember. So, in a 6-game season, our goal is that our kids get as complete an experience as they can possibly get, while hopefully competing at a high level, because if we don't compete at a high level, we're going to get our butts kicked. So.
Well, you will see them competing at the highest level as they take on their rivals just down Delmar Heights Road, Cathedral Catholic, the first week of the season. Coach Gladnick, thank you so much for joining the show, and we look forward to seeing you out at a game or practice very, very soon. Thank you for all of your work getting all of this going.